What's up, fam? Birds of a Feather live on A2DRadio.com from the Real Talk Studios, the new and improved Real Talk Studios. I am Chrome. I am here with Kevin Godwin, Mr. Peter Evans, the one and only Chucks. First time the new crew is all together because I've been gone for a while. Happy to be back. Not happy about all the conversation we're going to have tonight, but we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. You can also find the doc on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Our topic of conversation brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. Use the promo code A2D. Get 20% off all your first-time purchases of packages. Go for the weekend package. Have fun. Win some money on A2D. ATSSportsPick.com. Topic of conversation, guys. This year's playoff loss for your Philadelphia Eagles was worse than last year's. Agree, disagree? Who wants to wait. Before we even get into
please. With all due.
Also, fans, please stay tuned. There was a little bet that me and Mr. Godwin here made. Somebody's losing his beard tonight. These are the Clippers.
Sad day.
That'll be our no huddle topic.
3 of us have them, and I'm not sure if Chucks can grow beards.
Nope. He's trying.
He's got like a little
tiny.
He's a little
tiny
Pepsi
thing.
fizz there.
It's the Asian in me that
he's got the flavor saver there.
He got the Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks.
Did you see my legs? I barely have anything on my legs.
Oh, man.
Guys, wild card weekend, playoff weekend, first round. First kicked off, obviously, with your team losing. We're going to dive into Eagles first. We'll kick into that game after the fact. Your Philadelphia Eagles lose 17-9 to the Seattle Seahawks. Lots to break down from this game. The offseason, unfortunately, kicks off earlier than we had hoped. Carson gets hurt early on a disgusting, dirty hit by Jadeveon Clowney, which it also makes me laugh. And then he wants to take shots at Eagles fans, the same fans that he wanted to play in front of before the season started, before he got moved to Seattle. But I digress. Tough loss this week, guys. The offense could move the football, but couldn't finish. The defense I thought played really, really well. However, when it came to timely plays, they gave up too many big plays. And I'm not saying it was a lot of big plays.
Right.
But timely-wise, they were at pivotal points in the game where you really needed to stop. Mr. Metcalf had was involved in quite a few of those. But let's just dive into the poll question or topic of conversation. Did this playoff loss hurt more than last year's? We have the outside perspective if you think this was worse than last year's, and then obviously us all here who are emotionally invested. Oh, shout out to Mr. Brodo on the ones and twos.
Bro, on the ones and twos.
Totally just like overshot you. My bad, bro.
Yeah, Brodo, remember, if you have something to say, we can share a mic. Right.
It hurt more than last year for me.
So what about it this year?
Because I feel like things
I feel like we're going to say the same thing. Maybe. Go ahead.
We probably are, because we do kind of share the same opinion most of the time. It's just because I feel it hurt more for Carson.
Yes.
For me.
Agreed.
Yes.
Because last year, I understand had a double doink. We had Nick. The loss itself didn't hurt as much last year as the way we lost. It was right there in front of you. But for Carson to persevere all 16 games of the season, have adversity, put the team on his back the last 4 weeks of the season. I don't care if they play. You talk to some pundits, they say, but you played the Giants, you played the Redskins. The Giants, you had to beat in overtime. The Redskins, you had to beat them last play. None of that shit mattered.
Carried a practice squad to the playoffs.
Right. Carry a practice squad to the playoffs, and then to get here on this cusp, and we said it Saturday. I was like, I'm just happy Carson gets to play his first game. Win, lose, or draw, he gets to play his first playoff game, and for that to be taken away from him, and some people to call it injury prone, like that was just a freak thing on I can't say it was a dirty hit. Clowney goes hard, and I don't think sometimes he knows when to turn the switch off, but then also at the same time he shouldn't get rewarded for that. The team somehow itself, I mean, that probably hit him in the pocket, but there should have been a flag. And then let's not even talk about the Jaron Reed hit after that. There was like 2 or 3 plays after where ball's gone, Jaron Reed pushes Carson to the ground, then he goes out. So for 6 minutes, Carson had no naysayers, in my opinion. Everybody was quiet. The cockroaches were in the dark, lights off, you know what I mean? They can't say anything. Then boom, this happens, and everything's taken away from him. I don't know. I personally wouldn't be mentally strong enough to make it back from this, because now you have a whole nother off season of everybody questioning you, looking at you, have to have these answers, and you're still not the guy. So for me, from that standpoint as a fan, I agree. It hurts more long term for me. It hurts more.
Chucks?
It hurts, like, to me, the moment I saw that he was walking back to the locker room, I got this sick feeling in my stomach, like I had no energy the rest of the game, watching the game. Like, you see, they were marching down the field, they were making plays here and there, and my family, my brother-in-law, sister, my cousin that I was watching with, they're all celebrating, they're all happy, energetic, but I'm there on the couch and I'm just like, yay. And you guys knowing me, that's saying a lot considering how intense I get during games. When we talk about like the accomplishment of what has happened in December, going to this playoff game, before the weekend kicked off, we said win, lose, or draw, like you said. The biggest takeaway is that Carson showed that he is the lead. This is his team. Now there's no doubt. Amongst everything that's happened over the past 2 years with the whole Nick Foles thing, with everything with that stupid article that came out on the offseason, questioning his leadership, with the Josina Anderson source, everything, him being able to prove everyone wrong, and this being his time, this was his time. This was his, like, okay, it doesn't matter if we felt like the Eagles couldn't get to the Super Bowl. I think a majority of us weren't really expecting this team to be good enough to make it there, but we wanted to see Carson just continue to prove the doubters wrong and just be our franchise guy and see what he could do in the playoffs. And if he could beat a good Seattle team with practice squad players, go in the second round, perform at a high level and continue to cement his status and just quiet everyone. And then just personally for him, after everything he's been through, you feel for the guy, you root for the guy. That's your quarterback. But then him being gone in the first quarter and not coming out, and then you hear all these rumors. I don't know what's fake or what's not, but I heard that just before the show, his wife was sent down to the locker room to calm him down because he was flipping out because he wanted to come back in. And then you have these morons, these idiots who want to say he's soft, he's injury prone, like he can't take it. Like, this guy, he stayed in the game but he got hit, but he still stayed in the game. There's no doubt in my mind, if it were up to him, if this was 15 years ago and they didn't have this concussion protocol where they decide if a player comes out or not, Wentz would have stayed in the game and finished the game, regardless for what his future would have held. Because that's the competitor he is. We all know that if it's his health, his long-term health, that takes priority, for his family, for himself. But he himself would have stayed in that game. But knowing that was all taken away from him, the situation that's in, like that to me that hurts more because again, it's another off season of having to hear all the doubts, all the naysayers, and to what your last point was, like you personally, you wouldn't be able to handle it. I could never say if I could or could not because I never played a down of football in my life. Or only organized sport I ever played was tennis. I've played recreational flag football. That's that doesn't count. But knowing him though, I think there are only a few people in this league to be able to get over something like this, and I think Carson's one of them. And that's one of the reasons why I'm already so eager for the next season is because I know that with another, with a healthy team, a revamped team, he is going to come out and continue to prove everyone wrong. But this right now, it hurts so bad because we love Carson for who he is to us for this city, and to have that happen to him it's not fair. Like you say, like it's just not fair to him.
Kevin?
Yeah, for me, obviously outside looking in on it, a little bit different. I think that last year was worse, having come off of a Super Bowl, and having Foles in there again. That's that. Okay, we've done this once already. We feel good in the situation. Going in and having won a game. Before getting kicked out of the playoffs, it's like, almost like you're on a roller coaster. You're almost at the top, and then you rise back down. In this game, to me, it feels like it almost never left the station, right? Mm-hmm. Because you already have a practice squad pretty much in there. You already have. I think it was your top 3 receivers out, 2 running backs out, already not supposed to be in the playoffs, let alone in this game whatsoever. Be right there. To me, that's a win regardless of the situation, whether Wentz was healthy or not, or McCown came in if he was healthy or not. The hit, regardless of all of that, having gotten this far already in the season, to me is a victory in itself. And just shows how the heart behind the team to get there. Regardless of the players that they had to put out in the situation. So I would have to put last year's over this because you were that much closer. You had that many more pieces to get there, and it was less about the, you had more of a shot to win then than now. So it should come as less of a surprise, even though, being 17-9, you're still in it at that point. But to me, the better shot was last year. So when that gets pulled from you, it's worse.
Yeah, I kind of feel I'm like in between on them, but I would more agree for a lot of the reasons you guys said with Carson. And I kind of look at the situation, and it's kind of like people choose to have their own kind of a memory. Like going into it, it's like, can Carson lead a team to the playoffs? He did that in 2017. They were in the playoffs when he got hurt. He already led a team to the playoffs. But people acted like this year is the first time he's taken a team to the playoffs.
Right.
Now, did he play in that year? Of course he didn't. But he not only took a team to the playoffs, but positioned them to get home field advantage throughout that playoff run that they won the Super Bowl. If Carson, if they don't make that run at the end of the year in the Super Bowl, in the playoffs, and they go out after the first round bye, and they go out the second round, Carson only missed a couple of games.
Right.
He had, when you look at the injury history, he had the cracked rib. And did he miss any time for that?
Right.
No. He played all 16 games his rookie year.
Yeah.
People talk, but they still bring that up as if he missed 5 games from that.
Right.
And then you had, obviously, the second year, the MVP caliber year.
Yeah.
To where he played 13 and a half games or whatever it was, and he was knocked out. But by that point, he had already taken a team to the playoffs.
Yep.
He just didn't get a chance to finish it off. He positioned them to get home field advantage. And the situation was what it was, and that was obviously unfortunate. Last year, I stand by the fact, and I think a lot of us do, he could have played in that situation.
Right.
If Nick Foles isn't your backup quarterback and Josh
playing.
McCown is, at that point last year, Carson Wentz was going to play out that year last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't do that. You don't need to. Not the guy that you're investing your future in. So he didn't finish out the year, which is, again, I'm sure hurt him, psyche-wise and whatnot. But he came back this year. He stayed. And everything this year was, can Carson stay healthy?
Check.
Can he lead this team? Can he prove that he's clutch? and he did that quite a bit this year, and would have done it even more, obviously, if early in the year guys like Nelson Aguilar weren't dropping footballs at the end of games, where they should have had 2 or 3 more wins and been in a better position than they were than at 9-7 at the end of the year. They probably should have won at least 11 games this year. At least. Could be 12. But either way, he proved he was clutch. He carried a group of practice squad guys to the playoffs. Check. Starts in the playoff game, and then, unfortunately, because of a dirty hit, and I disagree with you, it was a pretty dirty hit to me.
I mean,
he was targeted.
He could have extended his arms. He could have extended his arms out. He didn't have to lead with the helmet.
He led with.
But my thing is,
and remember again,
Carson was already
add history to this real quick. He led with his helmet against Nick Foles last year in the Texans game too.
Yeah.
Carson was already off of his feet.
Yeah.
Heading head first before Clowney was even there.
Yeah.
And he left his own feet and went down.
Yeah.
That's essentially it's launching without launching because you can't launch up. But he speared him down into the ground.
When I saw it, I said, I feel like, God rest his soul, I felt like Chris Benoit jumped off the top rope.
Yeah, it was like a diving headbutt.
It was like a diving headbutt.
It was. And you see, like, when he's on his way down, like, he could have still kept his head up and just put his shoulder into it or something like that. But he's already on his way down, and then halfway through, before he makes contact, Clowney then lowers his head. You're not supposed to do that.
There's nothing you can tell me that says that he didn't know what he was doing.
And I wanted this. The hit itself was dirty. That's not what gave him the concussion. What gave him the concussion was being so close to the turf
and then
having that recoil, that rebound. And there you go. So just to piggyback on what you said, so let's go back. 2016, Carson Wentz is drafted as the 2nd overall pick. We have Sam Bradford here. Everything's going well.
Sammy Sleeves.
Teddy Bridgewater gets hurt. Carson goes into it thinking, okay, listen, I can sit. I had this year. Boom. 9 days before the season, Bradford's gone. Hey, kid, you're up. You got to play. Okay? Played all 16 games. Mind you, 3rd preseason game, he did crack his ribs. So then, all right, cool. Alpha male anyway to be one of the 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. And then now he's premier alpha. He likes to hunt. You know what I mean? Jesus, he's like a hunting Tim Tebow, pretty much, with talent. So
those are the only differences.
So then go through off season 2017. You get Jeffrey. Boom. You lead the team, like Chrome said. Get hurt. Not only does that team succeed, I want to say succeed. I want to say even despite of him, they keep it rolling. And as a competitor, they win the Super Bowl. So now you press even harder because it's an ACL. And it was also, if I'm not mistaken, an LCL as well?
Yeah.
So both. LCL as well, but it was both. So now you come back in 2018. Pressing harder, 3rd game in. Get hurt again. Okay? Guy who came and rescued today, and it comes in, kind of does a quasi the same. Now you got to sit on that all offseason again. Now you come back, 2019, here you go again. Pushing through, hitting people in stride in Atlanta, can't catch the ball. JJ gets Detroit the next week, can't catch the ball. Still pushing through, trying so hard. Finally, things start to click. You get in, boom, your moment's gone. When I mention mentally tough, I don't want people just to look at it from a football perspective. I don't know anything what anybody does for their living. But imagine you go to school 4 years, you go to high school for 12 years, you go to college for 4 years, you working in that field that you try so hard for.
Yeah.
You let me know 4 years where you could take adversity like that and keep bouncing back and keep bouncing back, and how hard that would be. And
extremely difficult.
Extremely difficult. And when I'm saying, like, I hear people saying the loss last year because of the lead. I saw Tom commented on in Facebook, the early lead. That's what hurt more. This is, to me, this loss is bigger than just wins and losses. It's more than that. It's the psyche of somebody that you invested so much money in, and we invested in because we see it. But will he ever get the chance to show it to us full bore on the biggest stage of them all? And it seems like now there's things outside of his control for him to succeed. And I hate to do this, but do you know what it feels like? It feels like Daniel Bryan's running WrestleMania 30.
Yeah. I can relate to that, yeah.
Because it feels like no matter what he does, how good he is, and how good the fan base is behind him, and not just us, but on a national stage, calling his performance the second best performance they've seen or one of the top 3 performances of a quarterback in the 2019 season. But every time he gets there, something happens.
It's tough. I think that I'm trying to also look at this as I'm trying to take a step back and look at it from a macro point of view, including what could happen in the future. I think that I want to have hope because things like progressively, this was a step forward. This season was a step forward for him compared to 2018. Was it 2017? No, but this is a step forward compared to 18. And I think that, like I said before, if anyone can go through it, he's one of the ones that can. And I think that no matter what I don't know what anyone's beliefs are that's listening. I don't know anyone's beliefs are here, but I know that Carson Wentz's beliefs in his religion, in his God, are as high as anything. Like he honestly believes and he puts faith into that higher being, and he trusts it. He absolutely trusts it, and I think that kind of thing, because I grew up in a very religious background, Catholic background, and that faith can carry you through things. Mm-hmm. It absolutely can. And so I think that even like that thing in the back of our mind that keeps telling us, especially as Philly fans, like something's going to happen something's going to happen, it's going to go bad, we can never keep a good thing. I think that maybe it's a result of the Super Bowl year where finally things went our way, but I think that in the long run, this is just going to make the story of Carson Wentz even better. Adding the more adversity, more trials that he has to go through, he's going to push through. I know that. It's a matter of is this team going to be able to support him enough to get to that place where, because winning the Super Bowl is not just on Carson. He's going to do what he needs to do. It's going to be a whole team effort, just as it was in 2017. Is the team going to be able to support him enough to get to that point and give him that Super Bowl win so that all that pressure is off of his shoulders? You know what I mean?
And I feel like you kind of characterized it the right way as opposed to what I hear. People keep saying, oh, he's made of glass and he's fragile and this and that. No, I don't look at it that way. Now, you said, is it a guy who's clearly experienced a lot of misfortune? Yeah, because when I look at the injury history, like I said, I don't even consider the cracked rib. He missed a preseason game that he probably wouldn't have played in anyway.
Yeah.
And he played all 16 games.
Yeah,
so that is gone. To me, that's
it's irrelevant.
That's like a sprained thumb.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like,
you're
okay,
good.
cool.
All right. I go back, and obviously we had the ACL and MCL issue. That was major. And then last year, again, I would bet that if Nick Foles isn't your backup, he would have played pretty much all the rest of the season anyway.
Yeah.
But you have the luxury. So I remember that, but I don't hold that as badly as the ACL, MCL. When I look at this doesn't tell me this guy is made of glass, because a hit like that, almost any other quarterback that takes a hit like that, where basically you're at, like you said, it's point blank range, boom, your head's going to hit that turf, your brain's going to rattle around in your skull.
Yep.
That would take almost anybody out of a game.
Yeah.
So to sit here and say, well, he's made of glass because he couldn't come back in, and Chuck's also, to your point, the concussion protocol now doesn't even give him the opportunity.
Yep.
If there's any suspicion, and it could be totally clear, but if there's suspicion enough to say this guy could have an injury, he's out. That's it. Mm-hmm. And he has to be evaluated further throughout the week. There's nothing in his hands that he could do that and come back in and play.
Yep.
So when I look at that, you characterize it great. A guy who there's misfortune there with him, maybe a bit of bad luck. But would I sit here and say, I can't sit here and say, dude's totally made of glass. Played with a cracked rib. He played how long with a fractured back last year?
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, obviously Carson having to deal with a lot, and all three of you guys kind of hitting on the same thing here, with Carson's history and, being down on him for wanting to play in this game. Does Carson's situation outweigh everyone else in the organization as a whole to make this season worse as a loss than last year? Because for me, for me, putting him in the situation, yeah, it sucks for him. But if I look at the team as a whole, to me, I don't say that this is worse this year just because he was that much closer.
I get what you're saying. I think because the way I worded the poll question is which one's more painful. To me, from like, I get what you're, if I phrase the question like which one was worse from like that point of view, like a completely macro perspective point of view. Yeah, sure. Like last year's was worse because we actually had a chance to make it back to the Super Bowl, but it's painful in the fact that last year. Yeah, we could have made it to the Super Bowl. We had a legit chance, but also, and I kind of don't want to sound spoiled, but the fact that we won it in 17 and then lost the year after, it's like, okay, we still won it in 17. We still have a good team. We'll be back next year. That kind of helps temper that pain a little bit. This is just personally me. I don't think there's a wrong answer to any of this. This is totally subjective, and that's why I put it. But to me, that kind of helped subside the pain because I knew that we were getting injured players back. I think that's a narrative every year now. We're getting injured players back. And then plus Carson's going to come back. We still have the same coach. We're still going to be good. So that was my mindset after I was able to calm down, after that loss. But this is going to stick with me up until September of this year. I'm going to be thinking about this when I'm doing draft homework. I'm going to be thinking about this when I'm in the middle of the summer when there's no football going on. And I'm going to be aching for football to start just because I want Wentz to get beyond this. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's more painful to me. But again, it's subjective. That's just personally why I find it more painful.
Yeah.
Now, to speak to what you were saying about outweighing for the rest of the team, for me, yes, because not even being an Eagles fan, but everyone in the organization that has power, Don Smolenski, Jeffrey Lurie, Doug Peterson, they know they can only go as far as that guy, that horse takes them. And you need that guy, that horse to be
having to take on the extra responsibility and carry this team. Almost, to me, it was unbelievable. That being said, I never felt like there was a chance. Even when they were moving the football, you just felt like this was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it proved it because they couldn't put the ball in the end zone. They couldn't score timely. And then, obviously, more pressure on the defense, more big plays come. I think that was the dagger, unfortunately. That was the one they couldn't overcome this year.
You know what it felt similar to? It was the Rams game in 2017. Like, I at the moment, and when Carson went down, even though we won, like, it was very tough watching that game. And then we were together at the bar. You saw me, like, that whole game, like, I'm trying to get into it. But my energy level the whole time was always subdued because it's like, what's happening with Carson?
Yeah.
But now this one was like, it felt like this was our season. This was like, okay, this is, with him gone, like, I can't get up for the game because all I'm thinking about is Carson.
Yeah.
And, it's just not fair. So I absolutely get what you're saying. Yeah.
This is why it's painful, too. Because
we need to talk this out. We need to vent.
This is therapy.
What does NBC do?
Oh, God.
They put a fucking graphic of Nick
God.
Foles in an Eagles uniform
Of
and his
course they
numbers.
did.
And then what do I have to deal with? Watching the game with the group that I was, listening to somebody who's a Carson hater, always been a Carson hater, constantly talking about how Nick Foles should have did that. They should have never let go of Foles and this and that. Even though Foles proved again, and it sucks because you make me have to rip the guy, and I don't want to.
Yeah, I know.
Because I love Nick Foles, and I appreciate him more than you can possibly freaking imagine. But he got hurt. He sucked when he played. He lost his job to Uncle Rico. And then when you look at a lot of things, like people just choose to ignore the fact that he played 10 great quarters here. He wasn't great in the playoffs last year. He made a couple plays. The defense is what carried them through that playoff run last year. He played terrible against the Raiders, against the Giants in the Super Bowl year. Every game pretty much going into the playoffs. And for the first half of the Atlanta game, he played decent in the second half of that Atlanta game. He played out of his mind for the Minnesota game and for the Patriots game. Other than that, there was nothing special about this guy. And But then the
But that
argument
gets-
but then the argument back was, but he still won a Super Bowl. Well, guess what? You look at guys in all sports, go across every sport. There
Yeah.
are guys who suck
That won a
or who
championship.
aren't great. But when a playoff game, when playoffs come, for whatever reason, they have their moments. Does that mean that if they're playing in the same era,
Right.
Robert Horry was a nobody all season? But when it came down
shot-
to it,
now he's
big shot Bob,
yeah.
because all he did was hit big shots in the playoffs. Does that mean that for 82 games in a season, I'm going to start him over Al Horford?
No.
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 Maybe now.
No. In his prime.
No way.
Maybe right this second. Right.
God.
Joe Blanton hit a home run for the Phillies.
Game.
Does that mean that the next season Joe Blanton he hit a home run in the World Series? Does that mean Joe Blanton should be hitting cleanup the next season?
Game
Or Matt
4 Sunday
Stairs should be
night.
hitting fifth?
No.
Like, come on, man. Like, guys have moments. Guys have fantastic stretches that will cement a legacy for them. That if they never had that over the body of their career, they're just a guy.
When have you ever seen? I could see if Foles was retired. When have you ever seen in any broadcast, Fox, NBC, ABC, ESPN, Booger's just the worst, or CBS, flash a player that's currently playing on another team in his old team's jersey?
Yeah.
It's strategic.
Like if I'm Jacksonville, I'm like, isn't this
our quarterback?
Isn't what is that? Isn't that
thought we had
tampering
it,
or
yeah.
something? Like when do you? I can see if he was recently traded. No, he's been in Jacksonville all offseason. You could have did the same graphic, but have him just. You didn't need him in the number 9. You know what I mean? And it's just I don't get it.
And it's for the exact reason that I brought up. It's because we're going to continue this Nick Foles conversation.
And people wonder why we bring it up. It's because whenever there's a hint of a negative thing that Carson does, it's brought up by mainstream media, by the Philesian Society. But like
I love that you say Philesians now.
Yeah,
Thank you. It's not Phosians. It sounds like a
Philesians.
disgusting
Yeah.
disease.
It's a
a
disease.
Philesian.
It's a disease, and
Get this
they
off of me.
their argument is always that he won the Super Bowl, but they want to ignore, like you said, the bad games he had. That gets ignored. That gets ignored. Have you ever seen Nick Foles make plays? Just if you watch the game, have you ever seen Nick Foles make plays and throws the way Carson does? If your answer is no, then that should be it. Like you should be, if you know what you're watching, you should be able to tell who the better quarterback is. It's
Listen.
not hard, people.
Listen, Tony Kukoc was a part of NBA champion teams and played a pretty damn good number 3 for the Bulls, particularly in the finals.
Right.
Does that mean that if we're going to compare his numbers against LeBron James the first 4 years of his career, because Kukoc was a part of a winner and had big spots in an NBA Finals, he on the same team with LeBron in the first 4 years would have been a starter over LeBron? No, it doesn't mean shit. All that it means is there are guys who have moments in time that will cement a legacy for them that makes them memorable, and they should always be celebrated. But it doesn't mean that a young quarterback should have to constantly have a average at best guy hanging over his head constantly, because we live in a fan base and in a city of people who are never satisfied, who can't get behind somebody even over
Grass
the
is always
adversity.
greener.
Everything is, we can't support someone through adversity. We can't be there for them. It's
like, well, yeah,
what have
this
you
one's
done
better,
for me
yeah.
lately? This
This
is it.
guy's better.
Nope.
This guy's better.
This is what I just saw. So this is the fact. That's
Hey
it.
guys,
And there's-
you remember other Super Bowl MVPs? Let me remind you, Deion Branch
Oh, he's
was a Super Bowl
great.
MVP. Malcolm Smith, Super
Deion
Bowl
Branch,
MVP.
he's better than Randy Moss.
Yeah, isn't he? Because he won Super Bowl MVP.
He's better than
Malcolm
Randy Moss.
Smith. Someone tell me what team Malcolm Smith is playing for now.
No one.
No, he is on the team actually.
He is on the team.
He's on the team. I can't even remember the team. He was on the Niners with a horrible contract. They released him this year, and he's on another team. But no one knows what team, because
What Super Bowl
he's not
MVP
that
did
good.
he win?
The one against the Broncos.
Oh, for Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah. The linebacker.
That was in the Meadowlands. Cold as shit that day.
Yep.
You were gonna say something, Kev? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the fact that the same people that want to praise Foles and say that he's better than Carson neglect to bring up the fact that he got benched for Uncle Rico. Like He's not even a starter, and you
Right
want
now,
to say
he
he's
may
better
get
than
traded.
Wait, he lost his job because he got hurt. But then he got his job back, and then he
He
just
lost it
lost
again.
the job
Yeah.
because he
He lost it again.
stunk.
Yeah. So I want to just, for those, if we have Philesians watching right now, just think about this. We all know that Wentz is a better quarterback, but more than that, more important, the reason why we won the Super Bowl, Foles at that time during that run, not only played out of his mind, right, but I'll give you 3 players in the Eagles uniform that he got the best of, the best versions. Jeffrey, Nelson, Corey Clement.
Yeah.
He got the best versions.
Corey, I can't even remember. I have time. I don't remember he's on the team. He's been out
Exactly,
hurt all the
and that's
time.
he's gotten hurt. He's got banged up. But those are 3 players that Carson never had them play at that level and click on that level
That Super Bowl year, Carson had him balling early.
but I'm just
Before
saying
he got hurt.
But for a long standing period of time, for a season, Carson hasn't had that, and he still did it. He still took a team to the playoffs with Robert Davis, Deontay Burnett, a returning Shelton Gibson, Greg Ward.
Shelton Gibson.
Yeah, I'm a Greg
Guys.
Ward guy though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Greg Ward,
he deserves a spot on the team.
That's
but
that's
I just
Nelson's roster
People
spot
also
next year.
people also want to ignore the fact that, do you remember going into that season, Nelson Aguilar everyone wanted Nelson Aguilar out the door.
Yeah.
Okay, out the door. He had a career year, but don't ignore the fact that Carson probably had a lot to do with it too. The fact that Nelson broke out that year a lot of it had to do with Carson believing in the guy, throwing to him, and just pushing him. Them being the first one at the practice facility, last one out of the practice facility. That was a big reason. So let's not act like there was this whole narrative before the December run that Carson never made his teammates better, never elevated his teammates. You can't use that narrative now.
Let me get to some of the comments because we're going to break at 9. So Andy says, Andy Ritter from In This Very Ring, he says, OF, those people that want to sit behind their keyboards, their phones, whatever, they want to say that Carson isn't the guy. He led this team, this island of misfit toys, to the playoffs. He is the guy. He's our guy. Does it suck for Carson? Yes. But he will come back. He's not going to come back and he's going to come back with a vengeance. This doesn't hurt him. This will fuel him. It feeds his fire. He's going to come back and shove it all down, all doubt and negativity down their throats. All these armchair quarterback douchebags. I'm tired of this narrative. Wilson, he says, I agree because of what happened with Carson. It was such a gut punch to the entire franchise and fan base. It was great to see them keep fighting because we're a resilient bunch and I expect this back. Andy says, I agree with the Pats fan. I think I need a shower. Brian Daly says, what's up, boys? Daly says, there's a reason why this one doesn't hurt as much. Early season underachieving, which helped lower expectations, injury after injury, having your practice squad on the field, and so on. However, despite everything, Carson balled out with who he had, and he put a streak together and got us to the playoffs. To me personally, overcoming that kind of adversity, it hurts more losing Carson than it did losing the game. Parker says, has Carson had a presser yet? I don't think he has. Ritter says, I think you need to hear from him tomorrow. He needs to come out and pull back the curtain on what happened once he went back in the locker room. He needs to come out and silence those haters, silence those that speak ill of him. Anthony Adis says, after Carson went down, Doug should have went with Greg Ward Jr. and go 5 wide receivers to spread out the Seahawks defense and have Greg run or have Greg throw short passes because Greg was a quarterback. And the Eagles, with all their speed, I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say that it's hard to say that with the numbers that McCown put up, though. Like if McCown came in and was atrocious, then I would agree. But he says, I know you can see it in Doug's face and Schwartz's faces. Jeff Lomaire says, at least not for me. I guess there's some issues with the sound. All right, well, then, let's take our break then. If you can hear us, we're going to take a quick break. If you're on the YouTube, Facebook, everywhere, just stick with us, guys.
Stick with us.
We're going to take a quick break.
We'll be right back.
We'll come back. We'll continue to go over Wild Card Weekend. What up, fam? Part 2 of Birds of a Feather live from the Real Talk Studios on a2dradio.com. From the new and improved Real Talk Studios, beautiful and gorgeous. With the new crew here for Birds of a Feather.
Get
Chrome,
my Eugene
Pete,
wave.
Oh, yeah.
Chucks, soon to be beardless Kev, Mr. Ryan Brodo on the ones and twos, Big Daddy here behind the camera. Eagles talk, guys. We got a lot of Eagles talk to continue to dive into after a tough playoff loss. We're brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal. Find him in Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey. You can find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. Go see the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. And obviously, our topic of conversation brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. 20% off using the promo code A2D. We want you guys to win money. We love when the fam wins money. So get in there. Use that promo code for all you junkies out there who like to bet. Get in there on ATS. Yeah, here you go, Chucks.
No. I have breaking news whenever.
Ooh.
Oh, well, ATS Sport. You can find it at atsportspick.com. Chucks, we got breaking news.
We got a breaking news sounder?
This was sent to me during. There you go. This was sent to me by our one and known producer, Mr. Brodo, the bro, in the first half, but he didn't get a chance to read it off. So I'm going to read it off now.
Okay.
What is this? GPA? I don't know what that is. Anyway, so per reports, Tom Brady wants a multi-year contract with market-level salary per Mike Giardi. It's unknown if the Patriots will be willing to meet those requirements, as they have never allocated $30+ million a year to any of their players. That is the breaking news.
Los Angeles Chargers. I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm trying to tell you Saturday.
That is
both,
literally like the only team besides the Patriots that would make sense for Tom.
Now,
Going
anyway.
through it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right now, yeah.
Before
He's
the
going to go to
McCarthy-
Miami, and they're going to win the division, guys.
Before the McCarthy signing, it was rumored that he would go there with the OC as a head coach.
McDaniels.
Yeah. To over there, but I heard the same thing earlier in the week that he was not going to take a hometown discount to stay.
Yeah.
But I think that's on the heels of Kraft saying I want him here badly
retires.
or he retires. I won't let him walk, pretty much, is what he's come out to say. And if I'm Brady, okay, fine. If I'm going to be pushing through with a team of, nobodies, then I might as well get paid while I'm here to do it. And I think the hopes is to get a 1-year fully guaranteed contract. That way, if they bring anybody in and decide to split the season and say, hey, we want to kind of change tides, regardless of what, one way of it moving or the other, they can do that, and he protects himself. So,
I mean, for me, the Chargers make the most sense because new stadium. You see 80% of your 80% of your fan base in the home games is a visiting team, and you want star power, and it's L.A., and he is a California kid. So, what better chance do you probably have? He probably already has a house in L.A., knowing him, and then your wife is a supermodel. So, there you go.
His wife's a supermodel? Sorry, I'm on record saying that Giselle's not that hot. So that's why
you may be right. I mean, to me, most supermodels are not hot. That's not what I look for in a woman. I mean, a woman, I should say. It's just.
Well, let's get into it. What do you look for in a woman?
I mean, they're just long legs, big up front, and nothing in the back.
He runs the breaking news.
It's not that. Not that. Nah, I need a little cushion. I need a little pusher from my cushion.
No, I hear you. When a girl's too skinny, that's a little bit of a turn off.
Yeah, I need something to hold on to, because I got a lot for a bitch to hold on to. This is going to be fun on Tuesday night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the party just started.
10 minutes in and off the rails.
We've got a lot of off season, dude. So
We're going to be filming a lot of time in the off season. Kev, so let's talk about this. Tell us about your game this weekend. How did you feel?
The roller coaster of emotions, right around 4:30, and then how you felt about 8:30. Just take us through that.
So,
It's like a rough 2 weeks for you, buddy.
It's not been fun, trust me. It has not been good over here.
Was
So
that a hidden cam? A hidden cam in Kev's room?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Kevin.
That's me. No, watching the game, it started out, I was like, okay, we're not playing great, but at least we're holding them. And then I'm watching Tannehill, like, for some reason, show some life. And in the back of my head, I got two voices speaking to me. I've got Chrome over
Was it me
here.
and Chuck's?
No.
And Chrome?
I've got Chrome over here in one ear, just whispering the beard is good, talking about you lost to Miami already, you're gonna lose again to another former Miami player. Then over here I got Brodo, stepping out saying, watch out for the Titans early in the year, saying that's his sneaky team that can sneak through. And then I'm watching the game. I was like, oh, okay, we got this. We're only down a point now, late in the fourth. I was like, you're gonna give Brady 30 seconds. We only need a field goal. This is no time, right? Then my heart drops. I was like, oh my god, like, who's their special teams coach? Did Belichick switch sidelines because they downed it on the one? That never happens to us.
I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
I was sitting there watching, and I'm like, okay, this isn't impossible. We're on the one. You run the ball, get some room, couple of downs, kick the field goal. We throw it directly into the arms of the defender.
He's been doing that a lot lately the last 2 weeks.
And I'm
Last
like,
2 weeks, all season. I've been trying to tell him.
I'm like, oh my god, like, this is not happening. Then I went in the other room and I sat on my couch, quiet, looking at TV's off, just sitting there.
Wow.
And I'm like, did that really just
You were
happen?
in a malaise, huh?
Like that game didn't happen, no, right? Like, when is the Patriots game coming? Because that wasn't it.
Foreign territory, huh?
It did not feel good.
Welcome to mediocrity.
Yep.
I just feel happy that my
His face
voice
is so red with
was
cheer.
running through his mind. All I needed to do was just slither in there and plant that little seed of
Slither.
doubt in his head. That's all I needed to do.
We also have to remember, we had a lot of we were having people over for the family.
He can't even talk right now.
Yeah, we had family over watching the games that day. So I try to explain what's going on and how I feel about the game, and then I tell somebody I'm feeling confident, but I can't be overconfident because I got my beard on the line. They're like, wait, what do you mean? So I have to explain myself. To what's going on, and everybody looked at me like I was nuts. Like, wait a minute. They're like, what is this? How do you? I was like, I was called out.
So you decided to put your beard on the line.
I'm still wearing the jersey. I can't not back my team, and they cost me my beard. So that's where we're at.
Did you still have the same one pajama pants you had on Saturday when you were watching the game?
Of course I did.
And Pete, all they had to do was win one game.
Yes.
This wasn't like they get knocked out of the playoffs. This was they're going to lose in the first round.
So Tannehill and Derrick
And
Henry
just
still
as-
running in your mind.
And just as I predicted, although indirectly, at the beginning of the season, the Miami Dolphins were going to cost the Patriots the playoffs. Now, it didn't happen in the playoffs, but they forced them to play the wild card game, which then in turn, Ryan Tannehill came in and took down the great Tom Brady.
Derrick the Demolisher Henry.
The Hulk.
And then your reject Pat secondary cornerbacks, Malcolm Butler and Logan Ryan.
Oh, I'm just saying, Ryan Tannehill, king of the hill. That's it, baby.
Damn.
Ryan Tannehill, king of the hill, baby.
Well, when I was watching the game, I'm sitting here thinking, like, how can a quarterback that, through the first half or even through into the third quarter, only had 10 completions?
Who?
Tannehill.
Well, that's because you
had
got
eight.
It's because you got Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
because you got the Hulk running through you.
Oh my God! Like I seen a picture today, him next to Deion Lewis. Matter
ridiculous.
of fact, you
It's insane.
posted it.
No,
You
Tom did.
Tom did. You was like, that's me and you.
And how many
You can't tackle that in the fourth quarter, let alone the first, second, or the third, and feel good about it.
He got beat.
Yeah.
They got beat by a bunch of former Dolphins and former Patriots.
By a former Patriot.
Yep. Mike Vrabel.
Who was out there? You should have told you something when they doing team warm ups, and your head coach is out there warming up with the team like he ready to jump in and play again and catch a touchdown pass.
Our other resident Patriots fan, Eileen, is in the chat. Good
What's
evening,
up,
guys. Our Pats shit the bed. It is what it is. Belichick was dropping acid that night.
But
she says, "How are you gentlemen doing tonight? We are doing
well.
we're doing
great."
well.
Hey, Eileen.
Now, remember
Love
you
you,
said
Eileen.
before on the other side
Appreciate
of
you
the
popping in.
beginning side of the break, you said it's kind of solace for you for the Eagles because they won the Super Bowl in 2017, so it made it low 2018. So you can't feel bad.
Yeah, don't tell me
six
you're
rings
depressed.
in.
You have no clue what depressed is. I don't want to hear that you're,
I mean, besides your beard, but you decide. You were the one who decided to put your beard on the line.
So for me, it's a little bit of a different of a perspective, right? You have arguably the greatest quarterback and coach of all time, and it's not the heartbreak is not the fact that we lost the game and we're not.
the fact that you lost your beard.
Yes, but
No, yes.
so
I don't know what to say.
So yes, very upset about the beard. Thanks, Tom. It cost it to me, but it's the
He'll
fact
make it up
that
to you with an open mouth kiss at some point.
so the fact that we'd gone and won 3 out of 4. We're looking like we're going to go back. Get number 7. With a ragtag team. Only had 4 losses through the regular season and having played a tougher schedule as far as AFC is concerned. I'm not saying our division. I know that's trash.
No, the division wasn't trash really
the
this
Bills.
year.
You've got
one loss to the division. You can't complain.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
But-
we talked about it, and not to get on the Miami thing, but it's a team that we all sat here and said, minus myself, that may not win a game all year. And Ryan Fitzpatrick came in and won 5 games.
Another
for them.
ginger.
That division was a lot tougher and a lot closer
Right.
than people give it credit for. It might have been in some ways more entertaining than at least the NFC East was.
Oh, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
realistically.
Absolutely.
But for me, it's the heartbreak of the future now. Now having a quarterback that we've had for 20 years may not be there.
What did I tell you Saturday? I said
Yeah.
dynasties fall,
the realist-
and they fall
it's
hard.
the
It's never
realism.
pretty, and you never ease
You know,
into
though,
it.
you know, though,
Realism that
No,
that's
it's a straight jump off a cliff.
I do kind of want to see Tom either retire this year or go somewhere else. I want to see just how good Belichick
I do too.
is without Tom Brady. Personally, I think he's more of the reason to their success than Tom Brady by a smidge.
I agree.
By
He's
a
also
smidge.
won with.
By a smidge.
He's also won in other systems.
Yeah. So I want to see when he doesn't have, the I don't want to say post support, but like he doesn't have the guy who knows his system and executes it perfectly in there anymore. Now he has to groom a new quarterback or get someone else in there to kind of develop.
But-
how is that going to be? For him, it's going to be a great challenge he's going to accept. Like he probably wanted that challenge years ago with Garoppolo, but that was taken away from him. Now he has to get someone else besides Garoppolo. But I am very curious to see how he would do without Brady.
Kenzie says the heartbreak for Pats fans is Tom Brady's last pass of possibly his career being intercepted, or at least his last pass as a Patriot.
True. But to answer your question, Kev, so is it how much of an imprint does Belichick have on the offense though? That's because he's the defense.
lot.
The defense got better this year minus
See,
Flow.
I could see Belichick having success. I mean, you don't have Tom Brady. It's not going to be the same. But I could see the Patriots still being the top
Good.
dog in that division. I'm more intrigued to see Tom Brady go into another system.
Yes.
with
See
another coach.
how he does. Yeah.
Without Josh
see
McDaniels and everybody
How-
else.
To be
I don't
fair,
think he
though,
does, though.
different
to be
that
fair
legacy
though,
is.
I know a lot of people like if he would go to a different team and then not do as well. I know a lot of people, a lot of haters would jump on and be like, "Oh, look, he's nothing without Belichick." But at the same time, this is at the twilight of his career. He's not the same. So it's like I just want to. I'm not saying you guys would say that. I'm just saying like in general because that would be put out there.
But could we have another situation where, Robert Kraft wants to bring him back for multiple years, but maybe Belichick doesn't, and then you start having them butt heads again as we. had
Oh, they're
seen
already. I
previously.
think they're already butting heads. We're past that point. Egos are definitely now. They're at the point in a relationship where you want to see who has the biggest, what in the room, and who carries more weight, and they're just swinging it around. But that's why I say if I'm Brady, Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm Brady and money is apples to apples is on the table from, once again, the Chargers and the Patriots. And knowing Brady, he is the ultimate competitor. We've seen Brady get in people's faces. Looking at how the Patriots are currently constructed, okay? And he's like, okay, the money's the same here. But I'm looking at L.A., who has the better team, especially on offense?
I like L.A.
You got Austin Eckler, Melvin Gordon, Hunter Henry, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams.
Mike Williams, yep.
And the defense that's somewhat serviceable, especially on the
Somewhat
back.
serviceable. Derwin James. Derwin
Right,
James is
Derwin
a game
James-
changer.
But Derwin James comes
that
back, so I'm
is a
just
great
like, if I'm
defense
Brady,
with
I'm
Derwin
like,
James, yeah.
he
But on the
goes to
other
the
side-
Chargers, and it's like instantly they
The
could be
only
Super
thing
Bowl
they're
contenders.
missing, the only thing they're missing is a QB
Yes.
because Rivers is done, and an offensive line. That is legit all they need. And you could argue a head coach,
Yeah.
but like you improve on those, and they are a legit contender. So it would be a very enticing.
But my question is it enough to entice him to keep playing, though? Is he at the point where if you stack up money and a team, is it enough for me to say, okay, I still have a year left removed from what I've known for the past 19, 20 to keep playing? Or do I just say, I'm good where I'm at and, walk away?
That's a legit question. I think only Tom can answer that. If I were Tom, it would be very intriguing. Because even with his diminished...
I think he does because I think he's dead set.
He's
on
always said he's 45.
I think he's dead set on playing to 45.
to 45, and that's
Wherever
fine.
he's got to do it.
Yeah, and I think that even with his diminished skill set, like, we all know, like, he doesn't have a strong arm anymore. Like, that's not even hating. I'm just... It's clear as day. It showed this season. But if you're going to throw checkdowns to Austin Eckler all game long and Hunter Henry... That's a lot better than throwing to what he had this year. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we like James White, but I think Austin Eckler is better than James White, and I think Hunter Henry is better than any tight end they had. So, like, checking it down to them, I'm pretty sure Tom Brady will do that all game long if he needs to.
And he gets closer. If he goes to L.A., he gets closer to his family because they're out there on his side. We all know the things that happen with his mom and everything else like that. So to be closer to home, that does play a role. And he doesn't strike me as a guy.
Listen, you can go pal around with LeBron.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as a guy that
And Mike Trout.
wants to end his career on that note in that way. He seems to like a guy that wants to go out on his terms on a bigger platform than that, without any doubt that he's the best. And as long as he stays there with Belichick, there's always going to be a doubt. Who did it more? Who gets more credit? So I think at this point in time, they need to split.
I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but usually he's such a competitor that when they lose, he's not high-fiving people getting off the field.
Right.
And he was going down that ramp. He was giving people high fives going the way out. To me, that was telling that there's a very legitimate, real chance. Flyers tied it, by the way, with 5 minutes left in the game.
Thank God.
There is a very legitimate chance that this could be it for Tom. In New England, anyway.
Yeah. Because 45.
I think he's going to play right through to it.
Yep.
Barring a major injury at this point in his life, he will play to 45 years old.
You think so?
Yeah.
Broda, no. I'm talking Broda.
He thinks
Broda messaged
Tampa.
me something Tampa.
I've heard Tampa floated.
No
out
state
this
income tax.
Yeah. Weapons.
True.
Who? Yeah, if Jameis Winston was able to throw
You mean we
for-
might finally be able to have a quarterback that can show that O.J. Howard is an elite tight end talent in this league?
Yeah. O.J. Howard.
And then you look at
Him
it
and
like,
Evans.
look at their defense. As quiet as kept their defense, especially the front seven. You couldn't run the ball on them.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
Baron
a
coach
good.
would love to
Quarterback.
Tom Brady.
Arians would be a really good head coach.
Quarterback
for
whisperer.
Wow.
It
Well,
is
the-
a winnable division.
And
The
what
only
does Tom
issue
do?
is-
He plays in all winnable divisions. He's just got to get in. Just saying.
The only
It's
issue
been his
is
whole career.
Because Drew Brees and them, the Saints, who knows who's going to be their quarterback next year?
going to a team like Tampa Bay, who's definitely in a rebuilding stage. They've got pieces, but not all of them yet. And their head coach that is a veteran that has his thumb on everything.
But they're further
you-
along because this year was their rebuilding year.
But
They're further along than it's not like they're like, okay, like now we have to start over with everything. No, like they have like you said, they have the pieces.
My-
They're
my-
not that far along. They could be one off season away from being a contender.
My point is not the rebuilding part. It's if you have a head coach that has his thumb on everything, a veteran guy that likes to have his pieces where they're at, because he knows what he's doing down there, and you have a couple of key pieces, you still need a couple more. Do you bring in a field general-esque quarterback like Brady who's calling his plays?
Yes.
Because
I also thought about this as well. Who's the GM there?
off the top of my head, I'm
Jason
not
Light.
sure.
Where's Jason Light from? New England.
There's a lot in the chat here, so I'm going to go through
Yeah,
it
go
real
ahead.
quick. So Eileen says, first Jeff Lomayer says Patriots 2.0 in a warm climate. Eileen says, I didn't think we were going to get number 7, to be honest, but I thought we were going to win the first game. Eileen also says, come on, stop. Brady isn't going anywhere. Bill says, Brady plays in New England or he retires. It's a dynasty, and he won't be the same going anywhere else. I honestly can't see Brady putting on another colored jersey. I'm going to respond to all that, but I'm going to read through these first. Zach Mudd says Brady will pull LeBron James and go wherever offers him the most money. He's at the end of his career. He wants that bank before he retires. Eileen says he's going to be friggin' 48. He's going to retire. Matt's not 48, 43. Sorry. Matt says, "What's up, fellas? Flag was fly. No matter the outcome. Love that, brother." Eileen says, "Stop the Chargers crap. He's staying a pat. He either plays another year in Foxborough, or he retires. He's not going to L.A." I guess. Did you read Matt Haxton's comment earlier? Long one? I don't know.
No, I didn't.
Oh. Eileen says, with all due respect, you guys are not Pats experts. Come on, guys. You don't have to be a Pats expert. That
We're
doesn't
not
do
saying
anything.
it's likely. We're just
No.
saying it would be very interesting. I don't.
Jeff
Yeah.
says, just can't believe we're to the point already. 20 years has gone by fast. Talking about that Pats era. Eileen says, go Flyers, yes. And she says, excuse my language, but why in the F would Brady want to go to another team at 43? Come on. Here's the thing.
We just
Money.
Said it, though.
It's money. It's pride. He's one of the most prideful athletes in the history of professional sports.
And it's two-sided too.
And I'm going to
Absolutely.
add to that too. There's a guy named Joe Montana that people thought would never go to another place.
Yep.
And at
And
the
he
end of
did.
his career, he went to Kansas
Kansas
City.
City.
Guys, do this. There's plenty of players in the history of the game that have gone to other teams and played.
Yep.
And
Brian Dawkins.
at the
Favre.
level, well, that wasn't his fault
Favre.
though.
Oh, no, I know. It's just it
Well, that's
happens.
a dude that just couldn't hang him up. But at the level that Tom is still playing at, and the fact that he has made it a personal goal and has been made no bones about it that he wants to play to 45. He never said he wants to play as a Patriot till 45. He said he plans to play football until the age of 45. It is absolutely possible. Peyton Manning went and played
Yeah.
for the Broncos.
For the Broncos.
Yep.
All guys who people thought would never be seen in another uniform than the uniforms that they created a legacy in.
Yeah.
And I hold Joe Montana to that same standard because Joe Montana had a not quite to the level because there's almost been no dynasty to the level of the Patriots. Maybe the Bulls in the 90s.
Yeah.
But and even
That's the
Michael
next
went to
best thing,
Washington.
Yeah,
By the
Michael
way,
went to Washington Wizards.
Michael Jordan went to Washington.
The
A
other-
Washington
the other
Wizards
MJ.
with Rip
The
Hamilton.
other MJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he might be the only guy that I would put in comparison with Tom Brady when you talk about a competitive
No.
level.
yeah.
I know somebody way killer instinct, but more than
And who you gonna put out there?
more than Brady or Jordan.
Who's that?
You know what I'm talking about. Rhymes with stick. Eldrick, Tiger Woods.
Oh, yeah, but he's not changing uniforms. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
guys who
it's a
change
team
uniforms.
Oh,
sport.
I'm just saying. You
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
killer instinct?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, you're right. Tiger is Tiger. I mean,
You got
he's
Kobe.
his own monster. Right. And
So it's like those
Yeah,
three
yeah,
though.
yeah,
Those
yeah.
three.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
no matter what.
Agreed.
They're going.
That's
into-
why
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, Eileen. I'm sorry. I mean, I know I'm new here to Tuesdays, but you can't say he will never do it because I mean,
No one ever knows. There's
Somebody
this
brought
other
up
thing.
LaDainian Tomlinson, another
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
you
went to
never
the
thought you'd
Jets.
seen another uniform.
Yeah.
Like there's the other side of
Peyton
it
Manning
too.
said him, yeah.
There's the other side of it too that you got to understand that it's a two-way street. If
Yeah.
Belichick doesn't want him anymore, Tom Brady's not gonna just sit like, okay, I'll retire. Like he's going to
Yeah.
be like,
If he
all
wants
right,
to
if you don't
play.
want me anymore, I respect that, but I'm still gonna play.
And this was the difference. Emmitt Smith
Yeah.
Cardinals.
played 2 years with the Cardinals before he retired. I mean, there's so many players in the history of the league that
Yeah.
at advanced ages of 39, 40, 41 years old
Went elsewhere.
elsewhere for 2 years,
Jerry
or 3
Rice.
years.
Jerry
Jerry
Rice.
Rice.
Jerry Rice. And people, half the time, people don't remember. Hey, listen, he might go to the Chargers. They might not do anything.
Chidosos.
And people aren't going to remember that part of their career.
I think
Yeah.
But that's just, it happens with some of the greatest players in the history of these sports.
I think
Tom's no different. If he wants to play, he's going to play.
Yeah.
the money's going to be the biggest factor. I think
Yep.
Yes.
it's
Yes.
he's going to come in. He's going to give his number. I think it's going to be north of what Dak's asking. I think he's going to come out and say, "Hey, look, I am the greatest."
And he gave a discount for how many years he's
Right.
going to want to be paid back.
And, and he has every right to do that.
And,
Yeah, you're right. I have nothing against it. Go ahead.
and any team, as far as I can see, any team that calls him has to know that you're in the playoffs. Like that, it's that big of a jump
And that's,
to where.
And that's the thing too is
Yeah.
we're not just talking about a guy's at the end of his career and people will bring him in just to sell tickets.
No.
Like this is a guy that is still an elite talent that can even with diminished skills can go somewhere and put a team over the top and make them a Super Bowl contender. So it's not
He's still
like,
a good
it's
quarterback,
Not like
yes.
if Tom Brady decides I want to still play and the Patriots aren't going to give me 2 years, then I can't go elsewhere and to teams that are this close to winning a ring and get it. It's not like, I have to settle for playing
Right.
for the Bengals because they need a quarterback. No, he could go somewhere. He can go to the Chargers. He can go to the Cowboys. He can go to Tampa with all those weapons. And immediately those teams are right here.
And if you
above
look at
everybody.
the most intriguing spot, I'm glad Broder brought it up, is Tampa. Now that I'm thinking about it and putting everything together, defense, you got Todd Bowles. Now, so both.
It's probably the most logical team,
Yeah,
to be honest with
you got head coach and you got defensive coordinator. Both they're not guys that are new to this. They're older guys. They've been doing this for a while, 20 plus year NFL careers. And when you look at how Tampa's season went,
Happy birthday, Eileen.
if it wasn't for Jameis being the first 30-30 guy, they may win 11 games and be in the playoffs and go from there.
And oh my God, you hear his comments about like just Winston saying he's God. Like I can't
So
say that.
I can't imagine, though, like Belichick. Like, in reality, though, like, I don't know why Belichick wouldn't want him back. I never understood that, like, wanting to possibly move on from him or not commit to him.
I think because Belichick, he's the type of guy who will get rid of a player 2 years before he thinks their
right,
time
man.
is up.
We were
So
here
if he
already with
thinks-
Jimmy G.
But I know,
He really
but it's still, it's
I
Tom
100
Brady.
I 100% believe all the rumors and reports about the whole Jimmy G thing and
Yes.
him conflict with God, who's the owner? Kraft.
Kraft.
About
I mean,
Brady.
I-
I 100% believe that. And I think Belichick was coming to a point where he knows that Brady is going to hit the downturn of his career. So he wanted to invest in a guy like Jimmy G, who is the same type of mold so that he doesn't have to have a year like this year where there's struggles. There are struggles with the quarterback position. And again, I'm not trying to disrespect Brady because again, Brady right now is still a really good quarterback. He's just not the elite quarterback that he once was. And I think Belichick was trying to avoid getting to this point. That's
And
why.
I think the flip side of things, I think that when you talk about people or players not moving on, you're talking to other teams. I think it's Belichick more than anybody. I think that he doesn't leave.
Yeah.
I think obviously he's I believe the second oldest in the league, right behind Pete Carroll. I don't think that there's I don't think he goes anywhere because of how much power in the position he has, versus Brady, where okay, he can go anywhere and play, versus a coach that I have everything I set and can full control over everything I've got. That this is it. It's my way or no way. You can go get another quarterback. I can train him up because I am the best. So
Right.
I think that's your real deciding factor.
Hi.
Who parked in front of my house tonight? We have a problem here.
Oh, I don't know.
I live next door. I've already talked to you. You know that. I already talked to another guy. school is. If you guys want to park across where the school is, the yellow line, that's fine.
Okay.
Nights, weekends, this is the third time I'm gonna call the cops tomorrow morning. My daughter took a picture, I was at bowling, there was a black truck in front of our house for hours. Whose black truck it is was in front of our house.
Okay.
My trash cans are smashed up against my brand new car, okay? I'm being nice, I'm being more than nice to him, he seems like a great guy. But you can't come in the neighborhood and take up 6 spots over here. I mean, nobody owns a street. We don't have a driveway. And the girl next door calls the cops if you're this close to her car. Okay? All we ask for, we have 2 spots we have to put our trash in. But if I have any nicks, any marks, anything on my car from these trash cans being sideways, because my daughter sent me a picture of the black truck that was out there earlier between our cars,
We were
you'll hear about it.
we were told
Yeah.
we parked here because we were told we can't park in front of your house, and we didn't know if we could. Did you want this area still free too?
No,
Like in
no,
front of
no.
the fence?
Because
mine
owns a black truck, though.
Oh, okay, yeah,
We don't.
Like I'm
The other night, well, today the burgundy car was in my spot, so I'm up here.
no, we understand.
Okay?
Yeah.
I want to park in front of my house.
No, I actually understand. We didn't.
He's
None of
got a
us thought.
driveway. We got one thing. We got 5 spots over here.
None of us, I think,
Park
are.
across the yellow line. Park in the school.
No, I
parking
understand.
lot,
I don't think
park down
none
the
of us are
Church
parked.
Hill.
I don't think any of us are parked here. We all were told before we
I
got here.
pictures on my phone. There's a black truck there tonight, and today when I came, the burgundy car was parked in there, in between where my spot.
Is that one of yours?
I don't know. No one owns a black truck that's
Yeah.
here right now.
My car is the Honda right here, so
I own the Maximum that's across
that
the
might
street.
be
The
someone else.
burgundy car that's always here was parked in front of my house. Tonight, a black pickup truck was parked there. No one parks in front of my house except for me and my daughter.
Understood. That might have been
We
the
have
people
2
before.
spots. I just think that's being neighborly.
No,
No, you're
Not trying
actually
to
right.
be.
That might have
I'm
been-
not- You're really getting me upset though.
No,
Because
that
the
might have
trash
been.
cans are smashed. Whoever's black truck that was, and nobody parks in front of our house.
That might have been the people before us, but we were told.
We were
We
told
understood.
not to.
We
were
were
told not to.
literally just told
And
tonight
that's why we're
that
not
you want
parked.
your driveway.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
we
we
parked
left that
them this
alone.
way.
Those.
burgundy car, I said to the guy that better be gone when I get back.
Mhm.
And it was.
Okay.
It's up here.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay? The black truck was parked in front of my house, and they pushed the trash cans up, smashed against my car.
Oh, that's yeah. They
I
that's
have a
sure
cream car that the paint, it's a metallic pearl. They're recalling those cars because the paint chips and peels
Understand.
off. When I go
Understand.
out tomorrow morning, is anything chipped, peeled, I will be back.
Okay. We understood. None of our cars is
And I'm
here.
not that kind of person. My neighbor calls the
Yeah.
cops every 2 days
Understand.
on me because we don't have a driveway.
Yeah, no, we
That's all
understand.
I can explain to over and over. It's the 3rd time I've come here.
Yeah.
I don't want to start any problems.
No,
Yeah.
we understand.
But
We
tomorrow
understand.
morning,
We-
if there's a car parked out there,
Yeah.
you can't park 6 cars here.
You
We've
know,
been-
we promised. He did
It's
tell us.
not fair.
He told
Yeah.
us before we came. We agree.
Yeah.
That's
That's
why
a
we parked over
driveway.
here.
We have.
Park in the driveway. In
We
front of
have-
the house, you can fit a car.
Yeah. We have. There are
He-
multiple.
He told
What
us.
am
He
I
asked us
supposed to do? I
not
lived
to.
for 38 years. I can't park in front of my house.
No, we
anymore?
understand. We'll try to spread because we have multiple
Can you
shows.
please let everybody
And we will let
here
everyone know,
knows,
yes.
You know, I know
Absolutely.
you guys
Absolutely.
are here every night. The lights are on in here every night, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The part of the fence that's mine, that's down, is where
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
coming
yeah.
through
Understand.
to get here. Okay.
Understand.
Is he putting
Yeah.
the fence all the way around here? Is this something we're doing?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure. If
Alright.
he is or not. Yeah.
That's my
But
next
we-
question.
yeah, we're
You
aware
can't
and we'll
say
spread-
Like that.
We'll spread the word. We'll spread the word. And we,
At
like I
least let
said,
him
we're
know.
not.
His name Tom.
Yes.
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 I met him several times. He's very nice.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think this is being done on spite now.
I think not everyone was aware because we weren't told. We
I
were
told
only
two
told.
different people, and I said, when you in there, please tell everybody that's here.
We were just
Yeah.
told before we got here at
Yeah, that's why we
7:30.
parked over here.
So that's why we
knew
didn't
not
park
to-
near
Well, he
you.
told me the burgundy car would be gone by 6:30. It's not gone. It's up here. But
That
my
might.
car is
I'm
over
not
here.
sure whose
Yeah,
car
I
that
don't
is.
know.
So
Yeah.
It's somebody that's
yeah.
here every day.
No, yeah, and that's why we said we'll spread the word and make sure everyone.
Really, I'm not a bad
covered.
person. I
We know.
just-
We know. We
I think so.
appreciate you.
No, we
I was
apologize
up
for the
10 telling
inconvenience.
people to park there in between. I waved at the guy the other night. I'm like, please don't park in front of my house. We have no parking.
Understand. We'll spread the word. We'll spread the word.
Yeah, we-
We have 2 spots. That's it.
Yeah, we.
She has a driveway she doesn't use. She puts her car, won't let anybody park in front of her house. She calls
Yeah.
the cops if they're 2 inches because she's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy lady. I don't need this guy
No, we.
parking
Understand.
up there where my cars are being smashed
And he'll.
hit.
Yeah, all of us will.
My
We'll spread the
daughter's
word.
car's a month old, so if you touch that, and I told her that before,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
equipment was this close to her car last week.
Yeah.
People bring it
Oh, yeah.
now. That ever happens again, I'll be up to clean
Understood. No, understood.